So just a moment on saying what compassion is not. Because sometimes there's a sense of compassion is going to be dangerous, or we're going to be opening the door to get hurt if we're compassionate towards somebody. So first I want to say that compassion is not indulgence. It's not permission, giving somebody permission to act in hurtful ways to themselves or to you or to others. There's a phrase in the Tibetan tradition called idiot compassion, which is really compassion without wisdom. And that is indulgent. There's a story I read, a dinner party, two couples. One wife is talking about her evolving relationship with her husband, where they're both getting more compassionate and tolerant. She says, Jack and I have learned to accept each other's idiosyncrasies, like my passion for cashew brittle, and his going out every night and not coming home until dawn. You get the idea, right? So compassion does not mean that we drop our boundaries, that we lose our wise discrimination. It's a quality of heart that recognizes suffering and responds to suffering. Okay? The second thing is that quality of heart that recognizes suffering is not putting the suffering out there as a poor, pathetic person different from me. It's not pity. Okay? There's not a sense of distancing. In fact, in the Buddhist tradition, with every one of the qualities like love or like compassion, there's a near enemy. And the near enemy of compassion is pity. It's not real compassion. It's saying, it's a slight superiority. It's like I'm puffed up and oh, poor you, and I'll be charitable towards you. That's not compassion. Compassion isn't feeling sorry for the less fortunate. It's recognizing our common shared suffering. We might have different expressions of it, and knowing that you are part of me. I'm part of you. We belong. And there's this naturalness of extending to be helpful. So when we sense that, then we look, okay, so what cultivates authentic compassion? What's the alchemy of it? The real training in cultivating compassion has kind of two pieces that I've been referring to. And one piece requires being very embodied in our senses and paying attention deeply enough to sense the suffering that's here. It's basically sensing truth. It's being here for the truth of our own and each other's suffering. That the Buddha taught that this is the first noble truth, that everybody, all of existence, all created form, has a sense of dissatisfaction. There's a sense that we know our impermanence, we hold on to this separate selfness, we grasp, we avoid, we're living in fear that something's around the corner and it's going to go wrong, and we're not going to be able to handle it. Does that make sense? That we live with that? There's this kind of protectiveness. So there's suffering, and it keeps us from that kind of open-heartedness and aliveness. It keeps us from intimacy. We can't really be tender and open and intimate if we're defending against something in the future. So compassion is starting to see that. And compassion is being able to sense that suffering, and out of our sense of the heart resonating with it, we naturally in some way act with our prayer, with our words, with our physical activity to be of benefit. Now, in order to feel it, in order for me to be with you and for me to sense, oh, okay, I get it, for you to feel felt, because that's such a gift, to feel felt by somebody else, I have to have felt that within my own being. I have to be connected to my own body and vulnerability. If I've never had the courage to be present with my own suffering, I cannot, in an embodied, authentic way, be present with yours. Share with you a story that touched me a lot. As many of you know, we have a lot of activity now going on in teaching in some of the prisons in this area, and also our sister community in Charlottesville. A lot of work with the inmates down there. Well, one friend who was teaching described working with a woman, I'll call her Vanessa for now. She was over 6 feet tall, large woman with bright dyed red hair, tattoos all over her body. And so this woman was teaching in the prisons, and Vanessa was part of the group of inmates that was taking this, I think, 6-week mindfulness course, okay? Now, she was known in her ward as a bully. She protected some women, and she relentlessly would insult and intimidate others. And during the meditation classes, while everybody was having discussions, she would sit there scowling. She was a bit of a presence there, real silent. But she never missed one of them. She never missed a session. So at the final class, each person shared what they got. And she spoke last. And what she said was, well, I really liked the poem about the pirate. Now, the poem she was referring to, it's called Call Me by My True Names. It's a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it has a lot of the same sense of that quote I read you about, you'll have been all of these things someday. It's a poem that really teaches about how every part of this world is in us. All the tendencies towards violence, towards loving beauty, towards confusion, towards incredible sanity, it's all within us. So I'll read you a couple of verses from it. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, I'm the frog swimming happily in the clear pond, and I'm also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I'm the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I'm the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. Please, call me by my true names so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. So this is the poem that Vanessa was talking about, the poem about the pirate. And she said, well, that got me thinking. That got me to know something. And then she spoke really softly, so everybody had a kind of strain to hear her. She said, all my life, I was the bad one. I was the problem one. Now I know I'm suffering too. The group was really quiet and still, and Vanessa had tears in her eyes, but most everyone was looking at the floor, just respecting her words. Now, after that group graduated, my friend continued to teach courses, and the word of mouth was that Vanessa had really changed in a deep way. And she was no longer a bully. I mean, she was a sadder, much quieter person. And she was slowly coming to terms with the realness of her own suffering. That is a key part of us waking up. This capacity to say, this is real, this hurts. And not in some way add on, I deserve it. It's not as bad as what other people feel. In some way that we diminish or separate ourselves from the reality, just to get it, this is suffering. It's very, very powerful to be able to say in some way, I'm part of this suffering world. This body-mind has the conditioning to feel hurt, to feel insecure, to feel like failure. Just have that conditioning. And just like the trees get blown by the wind, this tree gets blown around too. So, there's an African-American spiritual that I've always loved, and there's a line in it that says, God looks beyond our faults and sees our need. In a way, with ourselves, we have to our tendency when we're suffering is to blame ourselves for some part of that. It's really deep in us. I often describe this as the second arrow. The first arrow is that we're suffering. The second is it's my fault. I'm bad. We have to enter that consciousness of the divine and see beyond these imperfections just the truth. There's an unmet need. When there's suffering, there's an unmet need. To feel loved, to feel safe, to feel belonging. So we'll practice for a moment, because this feels like a real important juncture to be able to, this is the ground of compassion for others, is the simplicity of getting, okay, this is suffering here. Just practice a little bit. And again, I invite you in this pause to get in touch with your senses. You can't wake up the heart if you're not in your body. So you might just let yourself open to the sounds that are here. And then open to the sensations in the body. Just the state of your heart right now. Just listen. And just to remember, the alchemy of self-compassion is to honestly contact, okay, this is suffering. And to be able to offer kindness. So just to bring up perhaps some place in your life where you know there's a struggle, and not to go for somewhere where there's really deep trauma, because we don't have the time or space to really honor something that's really intense. But just to pick somewhere that you know you're struggling. Someplace that brings up perhaps self-aversion, where you get down on yourself, or fear, hurt. Maybe just a clutch of anxiety about something. It doesn't have to be huge. But just recognize how, whatever this is, how it contracts you in some way. That you're not so free. That your heart's not free. And see if in a very simple way you can just, that honesty of saying, this is suffering. This is that dukkha. And we all suffer. Others feel this too. See if you can just offer that recognition to yourself. And sense this as an opportunity to be kind, to cultivate this heart of compassion. May I be kind, and may we all be kind. So sense your intention, and then we deepen our attention some. And this is often the Tonglen meditation can help us in this, where just feel where the most difficult part of this is for you. You know, feel in your body where you're most tight or vulnerable. It may be that there's some belief about failing or about not being loved or something wrong with you or the world. Just to let the feeling of that all be in your awareness. And with Tonglen, we breathe in and let ourselves really feel what's here. This is suffering, feeling it, contacting it. It's as if you're breathing right into your throat or chest or belly, right where you feel things. Sensing the unmet need, maybe to feel safe or loved. Then with the out-breath, it's like you let it be held in loving presence. It's like you let it be held in something larger, this place that's vulnerable. As if you breathe in and touch it, and you breathe out and just say, in some way offer a prayer of care. May I be happy, may I be free. So these are the two elements that make up the alchemy of compassion, contacting the suffering and offering care in some way. God looks beyond fault to see our need. Be that space of compassionate presence. You can put your hand on your heart if you'd like. And just offer whatever message you feel that vulnerable place in you might most appreciate, might most be touched by. Self-compassion takes practice. So this is a good time to bring to mind another person now that's struggling. We start with compassion for ourselves, and then we just open our attention some. Maybe you know somebody, a friend or in the family that is having a hard time. And sense this is an opportunity to awaken your heart for somebody else. So look closely, as if you could almost step inside that person and sense, well, what's it really like for you? And this is the key part. What do you need? What's it really like being you? What's it like looking through this person's eyes? What's this person afraid of? How's this person feeling about himself or herself? So you begin to breathe in for that person, as if you're breathing in and saying, yes, I'm willing to contact the realness of this suffering. You're letting that person be inside your heart. And you're breathing out and sensing your prayer, your wish for that person. You're offering care. May you trust yourself. May you love your own being. May you feel held in loving presence. Whatever the need is, sense that you could offer that person a message. You might touch your own heart and sense that you're touching that person's heart. It's a very beautiful practice, just to sense that in some way you're sending a message with your touch, with your heart. Only using the breathing if it helps. Sometimes if you breathe in and keep connected with the realness of the vulnerability, breathe out and sense the space of compassion. You're continuing to pay attention, widening the field and sensing all those that are suffering this way. Sensing all the beings that you can breathe in for and out for that might be struggling in the same way. Sometimes we're afraid to imagine taking in the suffering of this world because we think it's going to overwhelm us. And if we think of it as an individual self taking it in, of course it's overwhelming. Sense your heart as vast, as wide as the world. And you're breathing into this boundless heart, the suffering of this world. And you're breathing out and sensing a boundless tenderness of care that can hold this floating world. The power and gift of awakening compassion is it reveals who we are. It's not a self being compassionate. When we really open to that tenderness, we open beyond any story of self to this vast awareness that's most basic expression is love. And nothing's excluded from our heart. This whole world, including the personal self we perceive is as who we are, this whole world is living in this heart. In a very gentle way, just feel yourself sitting here and breathing. Sitting here and breathing. Sensing your own sincerity about awakening this heart of compassion. Sensing how it starts with the life that's within us, this commitment to sense our own suffering and just say, this is suffering. May I be kind. Others experience this too. And then when we're with each other, looking a little more deeply. It says, the poet Hafez says, what if we said to ourselves, we brought to mind a dear one struggling, we said, how can I be more loving to you? How can I be more kind? If we move into our worlds with this intention, we become part of the evolution of consciousness, the awakening of the world's heart of compassion. Namaste and thank you.